Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I'm Gat, your host. All right, and then we're looking at the natal chart that a person requested. What was going on when they first met a person? So that's what we will be looking at here. Now, we have natal charts for everything. Some people want to know compatibility with a person, a mate, somebody they're interested in, somebody they're dating, a marriage. Are we twin flames? So a lot of times you'll see two natal charts, twin flames compatibility, and you can see that on Archangel Revelations and Prophecies on YouTube. Also, I've had people request it for animals. If it's in the stars, it's on the chart. Now, when people first contact and we do it the initial reading, you get a free report. So that's a totally free report. It teaches you all about astrology, the 12 houses of astrology, the archangels, how it corresponds. It has some information on our natal charts. So for people that are really interested in this, it's very productive. Definitely changed my life, made my life a whole lot better. So it's real good. And on the channel, Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444, we do talk about everything from twin flame relationships to past lives, things of that nature. So it's plenty of videos to help people who really want better understanding and journey. Now, here's the first date. The first thing I noticed, just a quick look, was I believe that is, let me make sure. That is the 10th house. So something was going on with career and reputation on that day. So when we get to the 10th house, we'll look a little bit more about that, but a lot was going on, and it's a 10th house in Pisces. All right, but the first house is where you see the EP, and that's relatively how you know what house it's in. If you just start counting, because that 10th house with medium coelias will be a 10th house, but you really have to know how to count it though, because that can get difficult with some people, and then people tend to debate the house numbers and things. But if you've got 12 sectors, you've got 12 houses, so you want to keep it that way. Otherwise, it can get very confusing. And at the end of the day, all of this is about energy. So you have to remember that too. That's why somebody can get real technical. And technically speaking, it could be 100% right. But when it actually happens in reality, it's not the way that technical person said it. This is about, that's what they tell you. Energy is intuition. So that's why I try to say you never want to get too technical with this. Two people that shouldn't make it, and two people that is destined to make it in the stars and they don't make it. I mean, as far as a relationship. So this is a lot of intuition, and at the end of it, there's also a little common sense as well. But in my opinion, I wouldn't move without it because I like the advisories. There's nothing wrong with taking advisories. It's like when you're a boxer. It's good to have a good trainer, but at the end of the day, when you get in that ring, sometimes you got to go with your intuition, your instinct. So now the East Point, East P is when the sun was going over the ecliptic at birth. But again, this is going to be the moon is the divine feminine, your intuition, your emotions. So Gemini is all about short distances, short travel, siblings, the community, whatever's your community around you, brotherhood, the neighborhood, creativity, multitasking, very mental sign, and communications. But Gemini just wants an understanding, but then it's going to keep moving. It's not going to It doesn't want to go really deep with stuff. So that was the mood of the day. The mood set the mood of the day in the first house, because the first house is the mask, how the world sees you. So that was the mood of the day. Was this moon Gemini moon. Now the second day really is family. That 6-9 is Cancer, the Cancer sign. Your second house is ruled by Taurus. The second house is ruled by Taurus. Money, finances, possessions. So that means these things was on the minds of families. They were dealing with this at that time. Also deals with teenage to adult education, land and property, family and ancestors, the heart, vehicles, and travel. So these were the kind of things that were going on that day concerning money, possessions, and how people value things, their value system. Now, good day was the third day, was still ruled by Gemini. So we got to remember Gemini, because Leo rules the fifth house, Gemini rules the third house, but they're a lot alike. They're a lot about creativity and travel and even fun. So they're a lot alike. So you can kind of say it was a highly creative day, but also a highly romantic day. Even some people decided to get a little bit more serious because of Juno. So Juno means this is more like a serious relationship or a marriage type relationship. And there was even finances in it, which means good fortune, finances, and expansion. That was with Jupiter. So Jupiter and Leo get along pretty good because Jupiter is courageous. He wants to go out. He's bold. He's bodacious, confident, wants to have fun, entertaining, travel, even if it was short travel. But Jupiter could have pushed it. Jupiter could have made the short distance of Gemini even longer. So it's kind of like somebody who normally doesn't go that far, they may have went further on that day. Give me one moment. And it's fun, travel, children, childlike behavior. Could even be childbearing. Something to do with children. Somebody might have conceived because it was highly romantic because of Juno. Might have been out having fun. One drink too many, and now you want to get married. That you feel at that particular moment in time. It was that type of moment with Jupiter, because Jupiter brings a lot of marriage, a lot of magic in a situation. Right now, Jupiter is in Scorpio, and if you notice, they are really draining the swamp one way or another. A lot of people are being incarcerated, being accused, that have been doing crimes for years and getting away with it. All of a sudden, but that's because Jupiter is in Scorpio. And if you see Jupiter is at 777, that's 21. That's perfect harmony. And Juno's at 11, which is that couple number. It could be the master number of the master teacher, but it's also 2, which is the couple number. And if you look at it, it's 1129, which is 1111. So that's your 4 angelic number. And when you go back to the moon, it's also at 4. Kind of like an angelic number, but it's also the Cancer number. That's the 4th house, the Cancer number, the family, the stability. So this is the kind of things that were going on in the universe. And even Jupiter is shaped like a 4. So it's a really great day for brotherhood, neighbors, your siblings, community around you, creativity, getting out and having fun. Now we have the 4th house is Virgo. Virgo was home. Virgo rules the 6th house of home, health, services, small animals, small children, daily activities, subordinates, or co-workers. But with Virgo, and it's kind of like the Virgin Mary. So with Virgo in the 4th house, it kind of was a home day. And the 4th house again is education, teenage education to adult education. And the 3rd house is younger education, just so you know. It's more younger education. 4th house ruled by Cancer. So it was just a day for a home. You know, a lot of houses may have sold, and that would depend on each situation, but also it depends on the overall chart. So that it was a home day, real estate homes and family and ancestors. Might have been some visiting going on that day. Home education and the heart vehicle and still travel. Now Lilith is retrograde, but in a case like this is not a personal chart. It's a Earth chart. This is an Earth chart reading what was going on in space on that day, but particularly in this area. But it's still a so you wouldn't necessarily do Lilith for that because it wouldn't be appropriate. Because just because the universe felt that way, it doesn't mean a person. You would have to see that person's individual chart. See, if this was a natal chart, you would do this. But this is more like what they call a transit chart. I tend to call it a space chart. So wouldn't be appropriate to do Lilith retrograde. Now in the fifth house, again ruled by Leo. So once again, it's all about that relationship, and it's a true north node. So the universe was going out its way to bring partnerships and relationships and business ships and looking at legal matters and contracts. Because again, this is when Jupiter, because it wasn't that long ago. I forget when Jupiter entered Scorpio, but the universe has been wanting to get Jupiter in Scorpio because it's just time to drain the swamp, and it's time to make people pay for their actions that they've been getting away with for a long time. And if you're studying American news, you see a lot of people are getting in trouble that you never thought would have an answer legal questions. So you could see it in the universe even back then. The universe was moving to start to maybe make things a little bit more serious in the fun sectors, and maybe even forcing people that are kind of like short term to go a little bit deeper. And that was a lot of communications there, but that communication in the fifth house are these relationships and partnerships and contracts and law. They started pushing them into the sixth house of home, and there's Scorpio, where the sun was in Scorpio at that time. And now Palace helps you see. We already said this is the home sector. We already said it. We just said it with Virgo, what the sixth house is. But Palace, that looks like a little diamond there. Palace is making sure patterns are being seen. Scorpio deals with soul families. It's a lot of things that go on in Scorpio. So the universe was looking at that, and we are going to read that because Scorpio rules the eighth house. Still a lot of love, but this is like soul. If you really want to be honest, it's soul families. Whenever you see Scorpio popping up in the home sector or family sector, you're usually dealing with like soul families. So a lot of people in your family are people you know from a past life, soul families, and not always, but sometimes when two people just can't get along, it's because they got history from a previous life. Sometimes that's what it is. And then Saturn is there as well. So this is a very interesting sixth house. And let me count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Very interesting sixth house. With Saturn there and Scorpio there. But with Venus, it's just gonna be deep Scorpio type love, which we are gonna read about Scorpio again before we leave this house. Love, fashion, finance. Could be business. See, it's so much in Scorpio. That's why I said sometimes all you can do is read the list, and only the person can know. Because Scorpio is vast. From business to real estate property, shared resources, other people's property. It's endless. But Palace is helping see patterns in the home and the sixth sector. But Palace also deals with social issues, especially when it's retrograde. But it deals with women issues, women empowerment, but also empowerment for like people in poverty or minorities. And Venus and Scorpio is a deep love. But it could even be dance, getting out and having fun. walking on the dark side, walking on the wild side. So what we're going to look at now, we're going to read what entails with Scorpio. And this is going to be in the 6th house and the 8th house, because Scorpio rules the 8th house. And then we want to read Saturn in Scorpio. So give me a moment, I'm just pulling it up. Again, the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, which is ruled by planet Pluto. It deals with secrets, mysteries, esoteric knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, obsessions, addictions, power struggles, abuse, greed, lust, compulsive behavior, codependency, stalking, intense watery emotions, arguments, debates, tauntings, revenge, intensity, psychic abilities, great transformation, high sexuality, doubt, depth, taxes, IRS, legal matters, court, law breaking, shared resources, inheritances, finances, business, karma, other people's money, the soul, reincarnation, afterlife, birth, death, resurrection, rebirth, regeneration, rejuvenation, animalistic behaviors, freaky, down and dirty behaviors, psychological situations, studies, research, knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, investigations, investigators, managers, addictions, drugs, alcoholism, other worlds, creepy crawlies, other dimensions, science, higher self, higher sciences, holistic healings, and remember the 6th house is a house of healing, spiritual healings, alternative medicine, alchemy, metaphysics, sacred geometry, things that are forbidden, taboo, astrology, knowledge, hidden knowledge, aliens, higher life, astral planning, telekinesis, telepathy, dreams, interpretations, animals, enemies, Halloween, the divine womb, deities, tarot cards, higher thoughts, inheritances, loans, banking, animals, pregnancy, woman's body, and finances. And the 6th house is the house of small animals. So all of these things were going on in the 6th house. And some people just don't think they add up, but they do. Like when you see people, they like to have snakes, and people got snakes for pets, and some of them like the boa constrictor and all that. All this stuff is coming out the 8th house, but they bring these things into the home. See, it's coming out the 8th house. Because if you were able to go into that world, that's what you would see. And if you think I'm wrong, read Psalms 23. Because David was put into, God took David and put him in what's called the deep, the 8th house, the valley of the shadow of death. And he's telling you he's walking around with evil and stuff like that. So God had put David in that other world. And we do that. We bring it into our world. That's why people like to have strange animals in the houses and all kind of crazy stuff. So it was that type of day is what I'm saying, but not just with the taboo stuff and the underworld stuff coming into the home. It's also just all that other stuff I read as well. And then Venus took it even deeper, because Venus can be a very, very passionate lover. And when she's with Scorpio, and that's why Saturn's there, because Saturn's trying to say, hey, calm down, watch it. But you also see the universe was trying to take things that are hidden and bring them out open. The 8th house. Now, I'm saying 8th house, but this is ruled by Scorpio, so it's still Scorpio. The 8th house rules other people's money and transformations. Other people's money can be debt, taxes, inheritance, joint finances, shared resources, and loans. The 8th house is on the axis with the 2nd house and is an axis of money. 2nd house is your money. 8th house is other people's money. But because the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, they were still dealing with that in the 6th house. Transformations can be mental, emotional, physically. It can be sex, pregnancy, or death. The 8th house is one of 3 relationship houses: 5th house love, 7th house commitment, 8th house sex. So now Scorpio is not necessarily dealing with commitment yet, because it's in the 6th house, not the 8th house. But that's why Saturn is there, because Saturn, again, is what is Saturn doing? It's trying to take that energy into the 7th house of maturity and commitment. Now, why did I say maturity? Because Sagittarius is there, and Sagittarius, who rules the 9th house, is usually a sign of more maturity, higher education, higher culture, higher class, foreign travel, religion, faith, philosophy, law, and in-laws. And remember that 6th house is all about soul families and stuff. See, when you learn etymology, there's a reason why they call it in-laws, and they show you that. So what law are they talking about? And sometimes they're not actually talking. You think they're talking about the local law, or they're not. They're talking about supernatural law, stuff coming out of the 8th house. So, and you see the number 19, which deals with space a lot. I think we did look the number 19 up when we did her charts. We did 2 charts for her. But if you ever want to know more about that, you could look up a woman called Tanetta Muhammad, number 19, or number 19 Tanetta Muhammad, or number 19 Tanetta, Tynetta, and she wrote an article for a very long time on a number 19 and its connection to space. So that's who really gave the law. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So Saturn is just trying to maintain order. That's the main reason why Saturn's there. And Saturn is Venus's sun. A lot of people don't know that. Our sun is not Venus's sun. Venus's sun is Saturn. That's why if you ever watch Venus in the space, she moves at her own orbit. She goes when she wants to. I remember times when Venus would show up and she would stay there for maybe 20 minutes and 30, and she started moving. And I would follow her. I would jump in my car and follow her. And that's the only planet I ever saw move like that. She would literally move. Like if a female says, I'm tired, I'm out of here. That's how Venus was. She'd show up, stand there for a while, brighten, and she'd take off. And then another time I was talking to this guy about Venus. She was up in the clouds. We were on break at work. So he knew metaphysics. So I did too. So me and him were talking about metaphysics. And as we were talking, Venus literally came out the clouds. As to say, are you talking about me? And me and him just started laughing because she really came. Like if a woman sticks her head in the doorway saying, are you talking about me? And that's when Venus came out those clouds. Me and him cracked up. And I saw her do that before with another person too. So it's a lot of stuff goes on, but we stay focused down here and we don't see it. And if somebody tells us that, we don't necessarily believe it. But if you stayed with your chart, because that's really where you're supposed to be, human law is not supposed to be ruling you. Universal law. Just go back to the ancients. The Native Americans, the sun ruled them, the moon ruled them. They understood certain things. And then all of a sudden, these people took over the planet and gave you their law. They became God. But they're not your rulers. So that's why you got Jupiter exposing things in Scorpio and all that stuff, because it's time to overthrow people that have manipulated universal law and made it their own. So now they got to pay for it. So that's what you see going on. If you just read your newspaper more, you'll see a lot of people took this knowledge and ruled the people with it. They're now paying for it because they didn't use it correctly. And universal law, give and receive, give and take. You give, receive. And if you do bad at some point, karma, bad's going to come back at some point. And if it doesn't get you in this life, then it'll catch up with you in the next life. So that's what you're seeing in these houses. And that's what was going on that day. All right, so we're going to do it Saturn and Scorpio. Saturn and Scorpio is impatient. They demand a lot. This is always astrology.com. They demand a lot from themselves and those around them. They can be so intense that it can be overwhelming for those who are not directed as they are. Full of power and energy, they are so determined to meet their goals, it is hard for them to remain calm. They are not the type to stop and smell the roses. Instead of going gun-ho for their goals, however, they are usually more subtle and calculating. Yeah, because Scorpio can be very secretive and mysterious, and they know when to strike. They're like a serpent. Saturn and Scorpio can be secretive. When hurt, they can be unforgiving. They don't like to be treated unfairly. They need to be cunning. They may be cunning, resentful, jealous, or possessive. They are shrewd and like to come out on top of any type of deal. And again, this is always astrology. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the home. A lot of stuff. Because you may have a relative that's done some really bad things, but they try to tell you they love you. And you say, well, that's a horrible way of showing it. Well, that's Venus and Scorpio. Not saying it's always bad, because it could also be a lot of deep passion and love. But this is in the home sector. And that's why I said for social issues, because that's service as well. So these things were even going on for health and service. It might have been these things going on. Like at that time, some type of health or whatever might have got caught. Because there's a whole lot of stuff going on right now with healthcare and stuff like that. Because in certain places, they really believe you get medically treated based on your need. Like if you're older, they figure, well, you're older, we really can't use you, so you won't get the treatment. Whereas if a new guy's coming out and, well, this guy's younger and he's in school and we can use him in the future for our society, they'll give him the treatment even though you were first in line or you were ahead of him, and you won't get the treatment. So that's kind of being manipulative and sneaky. So that's kind of like a Scorpio in the service department in that regard. But I'm sure that energy could also be used in a good way. Scorpio Saturn fears emotional rejection and being inadequate. This fear may cause them to overcompensate to other areas. This fear may be self-fulfilling. They are afraid of being taken advantage of. By examining their true motives, they may be able to overcome these fears and break the cycle through healing. And that might be why they put Scorpio in the 6th house of healing. Scorpio Saturn keeps their motivations hidden deeply. They may be from psychological, emotional, or psychic causes. See, they wrote that wrong. Scorpio Saturn keeps their motivations hidden deeply. This may be from psychological, emotional, or psychic causes. That's what they meant to say. They wrote they may be, but they should have wrote this may be from. By revealing their motivations, they may master their issues. In other words, they got to come out the closet with everything they're hiding, and Scorpio doesn't want to do that. They usually have to be pushed out. And that's why you might see them in the 12th house. They often seek power through covert means. They may dabble in the occult. They work very diligently to achieve self-control, passionate, and intense. Saturn and Scorpio can find themselves deep in denial. Struggling through their issues will help them deal with their emotional nature. Saturn and Scorpio is resourceful, but they can be vindictive or withdrawn. They do well if they learn to be responsible enough to handle other person's possessions. They must learn to be calm, efficient, and thorough. Emotional restraints will do them well. Physically, Scorpio Saturn may be set with issues in the reproductive system of the organs of elimination. Bowel obstruction may be a problem. Often associated with negative energy, Saturn and Scorpio must battle to overcome it if they wish to succeed. All right, now the only thing that keeps popping in my head, I believe on your chart, one of those charts you did, that Libra was in the 8th house ruled by Scorpio. And that's when I started warning you. Because that's the vibe I'm getting. So I'm going to tell you the truth about all of this. You got to be careful. Because like you might meet a person, and you might say, you're very abusive. That's not nice. You're a very abusive person. And then when you look on that natal chart, you might see their true north node, which is your life purpose, is Mars retrograde. Or Mars. Let's just say Mars. Don't even say Mars retrograde. But it's Mars, but it's a very intense. You could tell this is going to be a very... Yeah, let's say Mars retrograde, just to say it. This is going to be a very mean person, or just flying off the handle. So they're going to argue with me. Well, if it's my true life purpose, I'm only doing what I'm supposed to do. But I'm trying to say, yeah, it might be a true life purpose, but you're going to get everything that goes with that. Because you're going to hit somebody, you might kill somebody, you're going to do some time in jail, you might even be on death row. So just because it's on your natal chart, it doesn't mean you just lose common sense. So the way I see it, like I said, I take it as an advisory. Because if I meet somebody and on that chart, the person had Aries in their 2nd house. So that person's saying, hey, when it comes to money, possessions, and how I value things, that's my business. You stay out of my business. That's Aries. But then when you get to that same person's 8th house, they have your sign in it. Because the 8th house is about shared resources and stuff like that or whatever. And plus it was Libra. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. How come in your 2nd house of finances, I got to mind my business. But in your 8th house of shared resources, you have my sign. No, 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 no. Don't think, if you're not sharing your resources, don't think you're sharing mine. And I just read it again, how manipulative and secretive Scorpio can be sometimes. So that's why I was very alert. And plus, when I did this person's chart, the 2 twin flame charts, it kept saying this person may die in a coma. Well, how did they get in a coma? That's what I want to know. You know, you gotta, how do people get in comas? Sometimes it could be an accident, but it all could be getting knocked upside the head. Like, how are they dying in a coma? What happened? And some accidents are unplanned. Like, let me just tell you a piece of advice. I won't say the guy's name. You can do your own research. But it's a guy that used to be a major player in the WWE. Now, he's associated with a lot of people that died mysteriously. His own wife died in a, quote, car accident. What I'm trying to tell you is this dude has a trail of people dead that are directly associated to him. So you have to be careful, because that's the real world we live in. And that's why people don't like me, but I tell the truth. I understand everybody wants to be in love, but you got to understand what love really is. And love is not sacrificing to make somebody happy, because they're never going to be happy, because you're always they're never going to respect you. So we went over this in her chart before. So the reason why I'm saying, you're saying it again. And you got to understand, there's a reason why they're putting Venus with Scorpio and stuff like that. So just because my life purpose is to go to Switzerland and get killed, that doesn't mean I'm going to go. I'm not stupid. In the universe, like, you got to have common sense. People just don't understand. You're always a citizen of the universe. And this matrix you're in is just a matrix. This is going to come and go. That's why you see some of the most powerful people going to jail or getting accused. Now they got to fight to stay out of jail. They got to use a lot of their money for legal fees. Because things change. It's called the Wheel of Fortune. It changes on you. One day it's a bad day. Next day it might be a great day. But you never give up your universal right. And if you work for an employer and your employer say, hey, listen, your position is moving to one of the coldest places on the planet. You know, you'll still have a job. You know, we'll even pay you maybe a little bit more. But we're just letting you know. And we'll help you move. We'll pay your transfer, your whatever they call it. We'll pay your moving fee, whatever. Because they got a word for that. When they pay you to move, to relocate. We'll pay your relocation. But you got, that's your position. You don't have to go. Look, I don't want to freeze. I don't want to be out. What the heck's out there? I'm going to be on an ice island by myself? I'm not going. You know, you can stand up for yourself. You don't have to, just because your true north node says it, you don't have to do it. I mean, you stand up for yourself. I mean, I'm just different. But I think that's why I've been around so long, because I know how to say no. Some people just go with the flow and they be dead. And these people be going to early graves just because, like when you love too much and you can tell the person's not loving you back, but you keep loving anyway. And then you end up dying. That person's going to get with somebody else. That happened to my poor cousin. He was the nicest guy in the world. That woman he was with was no good. And so she had another man like 7 days after we buried him. She's with somebody else. But she was probably with the guy even when he was alive, because that's the type of woman she was. So why kill yourself for somebody that wouldn't do the same for you? So I don't care. I'm always going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to sit here and, because I could just sit here and lie to people, because that's what they want you to do. You understand? You make a lot of money doing that, just telling them what they want to hear. But I never do that, and they hate me for telling them the truth. I guess that's that Uranus in my chart. They always go against the grain. All right, so here we go. Now going to the 8th house. Now the universe is pushing a little bit of maturity. They're giving you Charis, the hook for nurturing. Again, the angel sign. number 4, angel number. And then Vesta is a lot of energy. Plus she's a priestess. Plus she deals with a family and spiritual. But she can also deal with sexuality. Which your 7th house is ruled by Libra, partnership, law, relationships. So in the 7th house, they're trying to make more mature relationships, and a lot of couples may have went on long trips with Sagittarius, and a lot of couples may have or a lot of partners may have went on long trips, or a lot of stuff going on the internet, and also anything with philosophy, religion, even in-laws, a law. So that was going on in the 7th house. Now we already did the 8th house, a very serious house, especially with Capricorn there. Capricorn is about career and reputation. Now, if this was a natal chart, I would know this person is highly psychic because they're dealing with Pisces. They're dealing with the 8th house. Pisces is in the 10th house ruled by Capricorn. So this will be a highly person, even with Pluto there. So this person is very serious, very mature, probably very business-minded. They're using all the stuff in the 8th house to do business. This is a vertex cross. So there was a meeting on that day with Capricorn energy and Scorpio energy. And I'm even going to say Pisces energy because Pisces is in the 10th house ruled by Capricorn. So this was a very extremely highly psychic day. You even see 9/11 in that 8th house with Mars and Pluto. And this is a very, you see how the vertex cross is right there with Mars. So this was somewhat of an explosive day as well because Mars used to rule Scorpio. But now Mars rules Aries. So this was a very explosive day. And you got to remember, this is the 8th house again, and you're still talking about Aries. And remember that Aries is the 2nd house of personal money, possessions, and finances, and ruled by Taurus. And then the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, other people's money. So you still got that same Aries energy. So, like I said, even nothing happens by accident. That's what I was trying to tell you. Now, see, in Europe, you guys do it differently than us. The way we write a date, the way you guys do it is different. Because us, the month is the first number. Then we put that slash or whatever. Then we put the date. Then we put a slash. And then we put the year. But over in Europe, they put the month in the middle. And they put the date first. So it'll throw you off. But everything happens for a reason. Because they still had the same message basically. Be careful. It was all about the money. And be careful. So that's confirmation. And now you're getting it again. And see how you protect yourself as you don't let the money. Just come up with a reason. I mean, because women will lie about everything else. You'll lie about a dress you brought, or you lie. So you got to come up with a reason, because I just see your life is at stake. And plus, you got all this other stuff going on. Because I had a whole lot of stuff going on over here. That's why I was getting frustrated. Because there was too much stuff going on. And I was like, okay, calm down. Too many emails. Calm down. Because I can't think. So that's my message. Not that it's bad, but you have to be careful. Because see, I used to hang around a lot of people, and you just knew it. Certain things you can't say and certain things you can't do, because if they think you're weak, they're going to try to take you. So, you know, nobody needs no personal information. And if they already know it, I would change. I would try to change it. But, you know, try to be nice about it. I'm not saying go looking for a fight, because there's already too much energy with Aries, and too much Aries energy. That could be a lot of aggression, and too much eighth house energy as well. So this was a very explosive house on that day. 2 powerful planets. So we're going to look at Pluto conjunct Mars. And again, a lot of this stuff is past life. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like in one life, you could have 2 different. Because don't forget, they don't want you to know that, but they had women ruling in Egypt. They had pharaoh positions. So they might take a woman who was like in a pharaoh position that had beef with somebody else in that area, and a man in a feral position. But in this life, they're together in a relationship. But in the previous life, they actually were against each other. Because at the end of the day, this is all spirit living through all these stories that they're living through us. And that's why you got really powerful bloodlines and stuff like that. We're going to try Astro Matrix, and if I don't like what they say, we're going to do the my astrology book. Person has considerable physical energy and vitality. Makes a person very persistent, determined, and enduring. But it amplifies any self-centered tendencies the person has. So any goal this person is setting is for their own personal benefit, just like I told you. Now again, I'm at astromatrix.org. This is Pluto conjunct Mars, or you can say Mars. Well, it's really Mars conjunct Pluto. Come on, man. Because I hate when these pop-ups come, because they mess me up. They break my concentration. In your intimate relationships, you may be too forceful and aggressive. You'll become too possessive and very demanding of your partner. And you may attempt to dominate your sexual expression. But they said this person will become, as they grow older, they may become more aware of social concerns, just like I said in those other houses. You can see it. And they said that would be fruitful for the person. There's a world around you, bucko. Stop being so selfish and don't bully your spouse. So that's why they're trying to help him become more socially concerned, that there's a world around him. So his ego will not want limitations. Power play will be a problem, and if he has been known to play a victim role in the past, avoid confrontations and spending time in bad neighborhoods. Whoa, that's deep. And I just got finished talking about that. Try to get control of your ego. So like I said, I've seen a lot of things now that I understand because you can see it on people's charts. And I guess that's just the way it is. And some people commit to it. They say, well, I know, it's not going to be perfect and, but I love them, or it's not going to be perfect, but it's my life purpose and blah, 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 blah. And I can't disagree with it, but ain't no way in hell nobody knocking me upside the head or set me up to look like I was in a car accident when they had me murdered, or knock me upside my head and take my money. That's crazy. It ain't no life purpose in the world that I'm gonna agree to some shit like that. But like I said, it's another person that teaches you did agree to it, and you already know what's gonna happen. So each person got to come to their. See, my job is just to read the NATO and give it to you, give a little bit of like a life experience, but I don't know everything, so I don't know. But it's still, I'm always gonna warn, especially when I see children could be involved. I really get upset with that, because I just don't think adults should be beating up or bullying children, and I don't think adults should be putting children in dangerous positions. But unfortunately, on this planet, anything could happen. All right, so we will continue. Ninth house, again, Aquarius. Again, this is going to be long distance using technology. It could be the internet, but it's going to be using creative ways, in unique ways, strange ways. But both Sagittarius rules the ninth house. One thing about them, they like their freedom. You know, even if they're in a relationship, they want to feel free. They don't ever want to feel boxed in. But so that day it was all about long distance stuff. We're using technology, long distance, and that's why when you go back to the sixth house, these people were willing to do some unethical stuff to help people out socially, which may not be bad because the people may not get help without it. But you just have to be careful because once you get in the habit of doing things unethically, you may start justifying other stuff as well. So that's why you have to be careful with that. Okay, the 11th house is a lot of aggression with Uranus retrograde. These are friends association groups. So that Uranus retrograde, it usually means that. It means some type of rebellion, even past life rebellion, or somebody that was quiet 1 minute, now all of a sudden they're all talkative, and somebody that was talkative 1 minute, all of a sudden they're all quiet. But again, when you see Aries, that's just a dangerous house to have Aries in because it's sudden and you don't know what you're going to get. So that's friends, association, and groups in the 11th house. So it was somewhat of a very dramatic day. Very dramatic day. I know. Now we're going to do the 10th house. I missed that on purpose. I did that on purpose. Okay, whenever you're dealing with Neptune retrograde, you're dealing with a runner. And see how they're both at 4? Again, because 4 is that angel number, but it's also that family number. A lot of 4s on this chart. So Neptune, very highly intuitive day, because Neptune retrograde means they're knocking out your logic so that your intuition will work. So this was a highly psychic and intuitive day. You even got to look at number 13. And it's dealing with past wounds, because Chiron retrograde means is they have wounds here that can't heal. Now this is the career sector, reputation sector, and see, medium Coeli can even deal with the person's life purpose. Because sometimes when you see the true north node, because that's really your life purpose, sometimes when you see the true north node saying something, and then you see medium Coeli kind of saying something else, sometimes they complement each other. Like maybe they're part-timers, so part of them part-time they're doing this, part-time they're doing that, or different time periods of their life. Because in the 5th house, this is a person that's traveling, having fun, childlike ways, and possibly entertainment and sports, but it's also partnerships or contracts or legal issues. So that's like the true north node. But then medium Coelis are making an implication that in the career sector, highly psychic, highly intuitive, spiritually discerning person, spiritual like person, but highly intuitive, but they can also be an escapist. Because remember, Pisces rules the 12th house of endings and dealing with your dark side, the side you don't want people to see, your inner side, your subconscious mind. But Neptune retrograde can also be somebody that escapes into alcoholism and other forms of addiction. And you see that on the chart, obsessions, compulsiveness. Because in the 8th house has Capricorn, and Capricorn rules the 10th house. So this person is definitely going to have some issues. You know, I know it's not a person's chart, it's really a space chart, but this is what's in the environment. So they definitely have some issues to deal with. And Pisces is trying to help with the healing as well, but Pisces is taking you to the 12th house. And again, the 12th house is what? They're going to number 23, the number of Sirius. But the 12th house is about bringing out what's hidden. What's hidden. And this guy has a problem really with, because Taurus is all about the 2nd house where the money was. But Aries is in the 2nd house. So whenever you're dealing with career, he has a major problem. Even though I know this is in a space chart, but I'm telling you it's going to connect to that guy primarily. And I guess she's supposed to try to help him. But you just have to be careful. And remember, Pisces deals with sacrifice. So does the 12th house. See, what I'm saying, like, people don't be understanding what I'm trying to tell you. You could actually be the sacrifice. Like, he might get better, but he might get better because he did something bad to you. I mean, it's just that way. It's like somebody that wants to be rich and famous, and so they kill somebody. Or they do kill somebody, and then they feel guilty, so the rest of their life, they're like helping the poor and helping the people. But they're only helping the poor and the people because they killed somebody, and they're conscious. And then they're worrying about the afterlife and stuff like that. Because that's just the vibe. You know, I would never say stuff like this, but that's the vibe. So that's something you would have to come to terms with within yourself. And that's something, you know, because I've given you all the information I could give, and you said you're looking more into it, and that's good. But that's everything I see. Because like I say, he's like two people, and even his true north, not this chart is true north node, but it's still true north node is couple. You see what I'm saying? And this is your sign. Don't you find that interesting? It's your sign, Libra, and his 8th house, and this whole thing is like really showing you the 8th house, which is dealing with Capricorn, which deals with the money, but then it's dealing with Pisces, which is the 12th house, and the 12th house is Taurus, who rules the 2nd house of the money, and then you got Aries in 11th, but it's telling you this guy can't be trusted because they change on you, smile in your face, and then do some crazy stuff. So that's wild. Like you're dealing with you, no disrespect, but dealing with you, well, nobody was interesting, because at the same time she came around, the Orion constellation became visible in the sky. Like it looks like you could throw a rock and hit the stars and everything. It was the same time, and all kind of stuff just was going on. So that's why I tell you got to be careful, because just like you have a family on Earth, you have a family in the universe. It's just that you're in a body and you don't remember. So you'll have some relatives trying to warn you, but you'll have other people trying to push you to your destiny. Well, it's on a chart, she's got to do it. Like they show you stuff like this in the movies. Well, it's on a chart, they got to do it. And other people say, no, they don't. It's a movie that just came out like a year or two ago. They got to die because of this reason. And other people are saying no. And you see it on the natal chart. So there are people trying to protect you. And that's kind of like you came across me, because I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to tell you common sense. See, I don't work off just emotions. I use my brain. You know, everybody wants to be in love and all that, but sometimes love is tough. And sometimes you got to be careful, because your twin needs some growing up to do. So instead of worrying about loving your twin so much, you should worry more about helping your twin grow up. Because my twin was an SOB. Very low energy, low level SOB. And I went out of my way to help my twin, but they were a jerk. Now it's changing. Now all the readings and everybody's coming to me saying your twin is changing. Now your twin wants a second chance. Your twin is saying, let's forget about the past and start over. So I'm always an eye-to-eye type of person. You know, I got to see that. I got to look you in the eyes, and got to see if you're really, really upset, really sad for the past or whatever. And if you really, really mean it. See, I helped them grow up because I didn't think with the wrong head. I didn't say, oh, she's beautiful, and just dive in bed with her. That's what most people do. That's why I'm hated, because that's what most people would have done. They would have just took the sex, and then you would have separated even further. The sex actually separates the twins even further. But they don't realize that. And I get this. I get some people I deal with on a regular basis, and they can't get that through their head. And they keep wondering why they can't connect, because you keep going low level. Twin flames is higher level, but you have to help that person raise their vibration, and they have to help you. That's the real meaning of the twin flames. You're both supposed to be ascending, raising both vibration, so that this guy would never put money over a person. See, that's a Taurus thing. That's a value system. That's a 2nd house thing. And when you see Taurus in the 12th house, that's usually why. Because they're trying to tell Taurus, you know, you got a lot of stuff to work on. And this is where you're going to start. Be more spiritual. Care about people. The 12th house deals with buildings and churches and social issues as well. But it also deals with jail and mental wards and morgues in any building and hospitals. You understand? So the woman can't walk around like, oh, I don't understand. Oh, the man's supposed to lead the way. Oh, I don't know. No, the woman's got to realize, what is my chart saying, and what do I have to do to protect myself first and foremost, but to help him best I can, but never to put myself in a situation where I could be harmed. And she's got to come to grips with that. And that's why the way I teach is totally, it's on you. I can show you what to do, but then you have to take the notes and things. And yeah, we could confer a little bit if you want, but I never want to be in a position where I'm making somebody's life decisions, because it's your life. And I think we see a lot of that, especially in this country, USA. People that are happy with somebody else telling them what to do. They don't want to think, because in this country, they dumb you down. The powers that be dumb you down so that they could take you over. And people are happy with that. You don't see too many people standing up and asking questions and stuff like that. So that's why, like I said, I'm controversial, and I'm not. They don't like me because I tell them the truth. So, the best for you. That's all the information we have. If anybody else is interested in any of these services, anything intuitive, numerology, life purposes, I do research as well. We also have the Archangel cards we do as well, the card readings. A lot of people have been contacting me. Very good. We're ending the year right, going into 2018. Again, there will be a lunar moon, a full blue lunar moon, a full lunar blue moon eclipse on January 31st, 2018. That'll be the second full moon of January 2018. If I said 17, I meant 18. The first one will be on January 2nd. And then we have a new moon as well. And both of those are on Wednesday. The new moon and the full blue moon lunar eclipse, both on Wednesday. So there's a reason for that. And I believe Wednesday is the day of Mars. I could be wrong, though. It's the day of Mercury, perhaps. And I think Mars is Tuesday. But so everybody's getting readings on that. People asking about that reading as well. And I also offer the 2018 reading. All you have to do is go to Archangel Revelations Prophecies 444. And the date, I believe the day's date is the 29th. So look around the 28th, 29th, and then you can see the two. I got two different videos about both of these sales that are being offered. Alrighty, that's it. Now, anybody, because some people like to get started with their natal chart. Because your natal chart, everybody should have your natal chart. It is your prophecy for life. That is your personal Bible from the universe. If you're worrying about twin flames, twin souls, soulmates, that's all explained. Even I can do it with one natal chart as well. We usually like to have two because we can get more clarity with both charts. But I've done it with just one chart because it's your twin. You can't separate from your twin. Your twin is on your chart. Your twin soul. That's you. So you need a name. For natal charts, all I need is the month, day, and year. But write it out, because if you write it out, you can't get it confused. If you say, oh, June 2nd, 1972, see, you wrote it out. But if you do like 6 and all that, see, in Europe, they don't do it that way. They do it differently. So it's going to be wrong, and the reading's going to be wrong. And really, like, once it's done, it's done. It would have to be a new reading. It can't be, oh, I made a mistake. Because once I start that analysis, it can't be any changes. It would be a new reading. That's why I say make sure you send it to it correctly. Then I can go right in and get it right to you. So you got the month, day, and year. City, state, and country. The gender has to be either male or female. And the time. And then you always have an estimate. You could ask somebody, oh, you were born in the morning, I remember. Or you were born after. But if you don't have it, then we'll ask the archangels. And they do a great job. So those are the things we need. And all the other, the PayPal link or the information in the PayPal email is there in the box, the description box below. And it's also the email, same email you can contact me with. So for anybody that wants to get started, because a lot of people just get started. And that's all the information. And any questions, I have the whole service price list. You can also contact me for that. And also, like I said, if you don't see it, I still do it. I may just have forgot to put it on there. So that's what's up. God bless.